Hi guys, this is Tracy. I'm going to show you how to make it easier for you to cut your elements for this Easter design. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to ungroup this. Just keep hitting ungroup. The goal is to get the letters off of the little egg pieces. So hit your E, hit your shift key, and go through and, while you're holding it down, each one of the letters, and then group that. And I'm going to hide it because, like I said, I'm going to cut that out of vinyl, so I don't need that on my screen right now. And these are all fine, so I'm actually going to group that and move that out of the way. And I want to focus on these flowers here. I'm going to ungroup this. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to go through and I'm going to ungroup all these. My goal when I do projects is always try to make it easiest on my brain so I don't have to think. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and I'm going to, that first top green right there, click on that, hit my shift key, and go through and grab all of the top green pieces. And I'm going to come down here and hit attach, right click, send that to the back, and then do the same thing with the other green pieces. That one, hit your shift key, attach, and then send to the back. Okay, so what that does, when you go to make it, all your green pieces are going to cut exactly where they are right here. Okay, this one you'll have to flip after you cut it out, but that's not a big deal. But the reason that I did that is now I don't have to remember which stem goes with what flower, because after they come out, all of my flowers are in the right order. So I can look at my screen to see that this stem goes with this, and this one goes with this. If I didn't attach these, I'm just going to give you an example here. This is all over the place. So now I'm going to have to try and figure out which stem goes with which flower. It's not a big deal if that's what you want to do to take the time, but like I said, I'm all about making it so that my brain doesn't have to work. It's all about speed. So that's how I arranged mine. You can do it however you want to, but I hope that makes it easier for you guys. Now let's get to crafting. We're going to add our vinyl to our cardstock. Remember, when you're adding vinyl to cardstock, you don't want to use transfer tape. It's too strong and it'll rip your paper. So use contact paper. You don't need a really big piece, just something small for this one. Lay it on top of your vinyl letters, just like you would when you're applying vinyl to any other project. You can use your finger, or you may need to use a burnishing tool, especially because it's not strong grip, so it takes a little longer for it to pick up. Just remember to be patient. Apply it just like you would any other product you are applying vinyl to. Remember to pull up your paper slow so you don't get bubbles underneath your letters. You can use what other color you want for your vinyl or for your cardstock. I like the spring letters, or the spring colors. I just tried to have everything coordinate. We're going to use twine or jute to string up this banner, and I'll show you how to do that later. I'm going to use a glue with art glitter glue. There is no glitter in the glue. That's just the name of it, but this is really good stuff. Has a nice fine point tip so you can direct your glue where you want it to go. You could absolutely use foam in these paper products if you want to. I decided to use glue because my intention was for the bunnies to hold on to them underneath their arms, so I wanted it to be flat. But foam dots would be really cute too. That's part of what I love about crafting. You can do your own thing, change it up from how other people do it, just have fun with it. Always be sure to line up your pieces before you start gluing. You want to make sure you have them facing the right way. We go to do the flowers. I am going to do a mixture of glue and some with foam dots. For this tulip here, I am going to glue it because the top part is so thin. I didn't want to take a chance of having the dots show through, which you will see later. As I was cutting some of the dots down, I was having a hard time with the scissors. So if anyone knows a better way of slicing these foam dots in half, please let me know. I'm sure there's smaller ones, but I was working with what I had. Don't worry if the glue seeps out a little bit, it dries clear. If you remember in the design space video that I did, I was talking about lining up the stems and attaching them before you cut them to make it easier for when they came out. You could just line them all up on your table. That's what I did here. As they came out of my Cricut, I pulled them off of the cardstock and lined them on my table in order. So I did the same thing when the petals came off. Made it so much easier. I'm all about not having to think hard when I'm crafting. And speaking of which, when you're putting your foam dots on, take your top piece and flip it upside down and put your dots on your top piece. If you see here in this stem, the bottom piece has 3 leaves and the top has 2. So you want to make sure you put the foam dots on the top piece so that when you flip it over, you don't have a dot showing. Here's where I'm having the trouble cutting the dots in half. My next trouble is I have no fingernails, so taking that top piece off the foam dots was giving me a really hard time. So after struggling for a little while, I ended up using a weeding tool to pull off the top paper. It worked well. Struggling. That's the pin for the top of the glue. Weeding tool to the rescue. When you're making your flowers, pick whatever colors you like. I happen to find the little polka dotted patterned paper there. I bought it a while ago when one of our craft stores were going out of business, and it was cute. I think I've had it probably for 2 years, and I'm lucky. I'm glad I found it. Make sure you line up your 2 pieces and get it lined up before you push it down. For your flowers in the center, I could have just used 1 foam dot, but I got a little excited and put 2 on there. There's no reason for 2. You'd be just fine with just 1. Right there, I could have stopped. Centered it up a little better.
I just love that little sunflower. I think it's so cute. Which one is your favorite? All right, we're going to put our banner together. I'm going to glue the pieces together. Again, you could absolutely use foam dots if that's what you decide to do. So put your glue on, and then you're going to line up your holes before you stick them together. We're going to run that twine or jute, however you want to use it, in those holes right there to assemble it so we can hang it. You could definitely use ribbon if you wanted to, or whatever floats your boat. When you go to use the twine, if you've used twine or jute before, you know that it can fray when you're pulling it through something, or if there's extra pieces hanging out. So I'm going to tie a little knot at the end to hopefully prevent that as we're feeding it through the different pieces of the banner. You see my band-aid there? The cardstock got me. Those of you that work with cardstock, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. How can a paper cut hurt so much? Okay, you're going to stick it in from the back, and don't put it through the other end like I'm showing you here, because we're going to want to measure it first. And if you measure it with it in both holes, you have a chance of it ripping. So you're going to go ahead and pull that out of there. And then just make a long tail. I didn't cut anything because you never know how much you're going to use. So better to have too much than not enough. So then I just finished putting it through all the holes. And be careful if you've worked with this kind of string before. Sometimes there's little burrs that can get hung up on the string, and you don't want to take a chance of ripping your paper. So just be mindful as you pull it through. And that's it. You just keep feeding it through. And then you have a really cute banner. Today I'm going to try something a little different. When I got these bunnies from the Dollar Tree, I originally wanted to put HTV on here. But then I changed my mind when I came across this little tutorial on YouTube, the lady making dresses. So I kind of put my own spin on things, and we are going to make a little dress for this bunny. I'm using my Easy Press Mini, and I am ironing this out first. My cord is all tangled in a mess here. As you can see, I am not very good at cutting straight. This piece right here is about 15 inches by 5.5. I'm just going to iron it out a bit. And then I'm going to do this on here. I know it's bigger than the mat, but I'm trying to stay on this. I'm going to fold this up just a little bit and iron a seam to make it easier. We're going to use a glue gun instead of sewing it. You could absolutely sew it if you decide to, but I don't want to. It's not perfect. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, now we're going to glue inside of here. Don't need a lot. Don't want to do it on there. I'm afraid it's going to seep through and then I'll ruin my mat. I've seen where they've taken the arms off before, and I mean, you can if you want to. I just want to take a chance of putting a hole in them and not being able to fix them because I can't find any more little bunnies. So I'm going to put this up here. Okay, I'm going to cut this down to 8.5. My goal on the back is I want it to crisscross like this because I'm going to give her little straps and I want it to go in the back. Okay, set that aside. And then the piece that you just cut off, you're going to cut strips that are 7 inches long by about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Okay, it's already about 7 inches, so you want to cut it down. About right there. And about right there. Okay, these are going to end up being the straps, and I think they are too thick for me. Yeah, about 1 inch. Okay, we're going to fold it over and we're going to iron this again. Okay, I'm not going to fasten anything yet, but I am going to see how it looks. And then that'll go back there. And same for that one. Okay. Now we're going to make a cute little necktie. All right, for this one I already cut my material. You're going to want This is 10 inches long by 3 inches high. And same thing, we're going to iron it. I just eyeballed it to see what I liked. And this is going to get folded like this, so I want to see if it's going to be okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Okay, and we're going to glue this. Okay, this you're going to fold over, not all the way to the edge, almost right to it. Okay, put a little bit of glue under there. And then take this and make a point. Okay. Set that aside. And this one is 10 inches long. Okay, so you're going to want to see how long you want it to be down. So I'm thinking right there. So you can cut this part off. Okay, so you got this. Bring this down. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue in here. Bring that down. Okay, now flip it around. And then down here you're going to pinch. Put just a little bit of glue in there. Okay. Hold it for just a second. Now you're going to take these two and push towards the back. Okay, and you're going to glue back here. Okay, now we have this little piece here. And there you got your little tie.